Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast for the technician that wants to get real. Follow along as we talk to industry professionals and address hot topics that we all face. Along the way, we'll learn tips and tricks. I'm your host, Trent Manning. Let's have some fun. This episode of Real Turf Techs on Golf Course Industries Superintendent Radio Network is presented by Foley Company, a strong supporter of equipment technicians and golf course maintenance departments everywhere. Foley Company offers a proven solution for above and below the turf for turf professionals everywhere. To learn more about Foley Company's line of reel grinders, bed knife grinders, and the Air 2 G2 family of products, or to find a distributor, visit www.foleyco.com. Foley, ready for play. Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast, episode 145. Today we're talking to Jeff Rockhold, equipment manager at Stone Canyon Golf Club in Blue Springs, Missouri, and his son, director of agronomy, Jacob Rockhold, CGCS. Stone Canyon is a public 18-hole course. They have mostly deer and toro equipment. Welcome to a special Father's Day episode. We're talking to our first father and son duo with a certified golf course superintendent son and his equipment manager dad, who's new to the industry. Find out how Jacob got his dad, Jeff, into the shop and what Jeff thinks about his second career in the turf industry after a long career in HVAC and maybe one too many crawl spaces. Let's get into the interview. Welcome, Jeff and Jacob, to the Real Turf Techs podcast. Thank you both for being on. This episode is going to be a little bit different, but I think it's going to be cool and fun and interesting, and I appreciate you both being here. And we're going to start with Jeff. Tell us how you got into the turf industry.
Oh, I worked at HVAC. I did air conditioning for like 11 years and got to be too old to be crawling around in crawl spaces. So somebody offered me a better opportunity.
Okay. But you're still young enough to crawl around on turf equipment.
Yeah. I'm not in a crawl space.
No, I understand. Yeah.
Where it's 110 degrees.
Yeah, I don't wish that on anybody. My dad has a crawl space, and yeah, I have to change his filter. Yeah, not fun.
That's
Not
where
on
his
top of
furnace
my
is at
list.
in the crawl space. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Those are not fun.
No, yep. Yeah, the last one they got put in is a friend of mine that done the work, and he put in one of the super thick filters. So I only got to change it once a year versus doing that once a month.
Once a month. Yeah, them 5-inch filters here, they're good filters.
Okay, that's good to know. So was it Jacob that gave you your start in
Yes. Yeah.
the turf industry?
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear that story. How'd that come about?
He just offered me a job. He thought I didn't need to be crawling around in crawl spaces anymore. Then the guy that trained me's been doing it 30 years, so I had a good mentor.
I'd always wanted to have him come work for me eventually. It's kind of just always been a goal of mine when I became a superintendent. And we had an opportunity, a spot on our staff that opened up a full-time position. At the time, it wasn't for mechanic. It was just wanted him to be my rough mower, kind of semi-retired job, a lot easier on him for his health and all that. But just so happened that course that we were at the time, the mechanic, Mark Williams, one of my mentors, but he's a really good guy, but he was down with some health issues. Over the winter, Dad was helping him in the shop. When he went down with some health issues, he kind of just stepped up to the plate, was filling in for him. And Mark ended up being gone for pretty much the whole summer. My dad took over and did a fantastic job. So that's where it all kind of started.
Yep.
Well, if you can get one summer under your belt, you're official. And then, like we were talking about, you've experienced top dressing. So, yeah, welcome to the club, man. You're here. You're doing it. That's right. Living the dream with the rest of us. Well, what's one of your favorite parts of the job? since you're relatively new to this?
Oh, I like to get out of the shop and actually go run the equipment after I've worked on them. Gives me satisfaction to know that I knew what I was doing when I put them together.
Oh, no, it can definitely be very rewarding. Is your least favorite part of the job top dressing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Does
He loves to help out, so it's really interesting because I told him the other day, I was like, hey, man, don't take this wrong way, but it's time for you to start turning some wrenches. I know you want to help us mow and stuff, but we got some work. We got to get some mowers back going and stuff like that. So I always
mhm.
got to get him back in the shops.
Well, that's good too. I mean, I think it's a good trade, and that's what most of the people that I interview say is it's the variety of what we get to do. You know, no 2 days is the same. We're
No.
not standing on an assembly line putting, part A in slot B and all that just all day long. Yeah, we have some stuff we have to do over and over again, but it's not too monotonous.
Yeah, I've done the factory thing. I've built seats and I've built radiators, so I know what that's like.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No thanks.
In my younger days.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. What's your favorite tool?
But my favorite tool, feed wrenches.
Okay, speed wrench. So, yeah, what is a speed wrench?
It's a wrench that's instead of an open end wrench or a box end wrench, it's racked it, so you don't have to keep working your bolts like having a socket.
Okay.
But
Yep. Yeah.
they're a
Nice.
handy tool.
Yeah, no, super handy. And trying to remember, I want to say the first one of those I bought was probably late 90s or something when those
Yeah.
came out. Or I mean, maybe they come out before then, but that was the first time I was introduced. And it was a traveling salesman that would come by once a month or whatever. And he worked for Foster's, I think, which is similar to Lawson or Kimball Midwest or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if they're still around or not, but he had a set and they weren't very much either. And I still got that same set, whatever, 25 years later, still going. Yeah, made by Gear Wrench too.
Yeah, that's gear wrench. Yeah, that's what we have. Gear
Mhm.
wrenches. They're good sets. Nap-On makes a good set too, but they're a little more pricey.
They're a lot more pricey. Let's don't, sugarcoat that. They're a lot
You
more
must keep
pricey.
the superintendents and stuff out of your toolbox because
Yeah.
we're always grabbing stuff out of his. So
Yeah. No, I definitely have my toolbox with my tools, and the guys that help me in the shop, I let them use it, the stuff out of my toolbox, but I still, gripe at them each day. Like, you didn't put this back in the right spot. There is a
You got a
grease on
checklist
this.
on your toolbox. Keep a checklist on your toolbox.
That would be a really good idea for sure. Well, what do you do to relax or find your balance?
spend time with grandkids.
Okay, that's a smart answer since you're there at their house, right? You got to be doing
Yeah.
that.
And I have motorcycles, so I de-stress riding my bike.
Okay, nice. Do you get to bring the grandkids to the golf course?
Yeah, I do every once in a while. They're getting to the age now where it's getting a little bit easier to bring them. It's not so much of a chore that they can kind of go play and we could still be productive. But the last couple of years, it's been kind of tough bringing them because it's just you got to give all their attention to them. So or someone
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm normally, he brings them and then I have to watch him in the shop while he goes work.
Well,
Don't do nothing
that's
done in the
okay.
shop.
That's all right. That's a fair trade-off, though.
Thank
Yeah.
God for TV and videos.
Yeah, right. I remember, so I got two girls, and yeah, they're almost grown now, so 17 and 20. But when they were little, and I probably waited till they were at least 5 before I started bringing them. And the youngest one, she would go with me like every weekend almost and hang out, set mowers up. I mean, I got pictures of her doing that, riding the equipment lift up and down, driving a golf cart around, just all the things. And I think it's really cool that kids can grow up that way.
Yeah. Yeah, they love it. They love it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. Well, I remember my sister.
Boy's he's into monster trucks and excavators and all that. So it's a heyday when he comes to the course. So
My sister brought my nephew to the course a few years ago. He was, I think, 5 at the time. And, he's a typical boy, into all that stuff. And he jumps out of her car And he's just like looking around, like tractors, diggers, naming all the stuff off. He like didn't know which way to go. He was so excited. It's like, go around in a circle trying to see what he wanted to get on first. Well, what's been one of your biggest challenges to date?
The challenges on equipment, you mean?
Yeah, or just been working at the golf course in general. It's Jacob putting out too much sand. Whatever the challenge is.
Oh, we haven't had any challenges at this golf course, not like we've had before. I mean, this is a little different golf course than we were at before, so the challenges aren't as strong as we were before, but just maintenance and in general.
So just the day-to-day stuff
Yeah.
can be kind of.
We still got these. I mean, we come up with different stuff every day. Like the 3,500 an hour. It's cutting weird. So we got some issues with the hydraulics. So it's been kind of, I'm growing with him too, for to go through the equipment, and the new comes up other than a reel going out or something like that. I mean, that's kind of, we haven't had anything pretty dramatic, but we kind of have to work through it together. And I'm really good at taking stuff apart. He's got the patience to put it all back together. So
He takes it apart pretty quick. You got to be watching, or maybe he don't remember the way it went back together.
Yeah. That's one of the things that you have to learn too, though, is getting stuff apart. So when you do face a challenge like you're talking about with a 3,500, you're not sure exactly what the problem is. Where do you go?
I call Mark.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Our local sales rep's really good, so we try to call them. We can bounce off any ideas. We've called Mark too, our previous mechanic.
Yeah.
So we've called him quite a bit. He's probably 35 years of experience now, so he's a good resource to have too. So,
and he's always worked on red, so that's what we have problems with, is a red sometimes. He knows all the tricks on what to fix on the Toros. He's about done everything there is to do on any Toro.
It's always good to have those resources handy. And from my experience, most of the people in our industry are more than willing to help.
Oh, yes.
The club down the road, or whatever. You can call about anybody and they'll help you out any way they can. And I see it every day. We got the WhatsApp group. So big group of technicians, there's like 150 of us in there, and that's what happens every day. Somebody, hey, have you seen this before? And there's another guy that says, yeah, I've seen that like 10 times, but I mean, it's common problems that happen with equipment a lot. And every once in a while you get a head scratcher, but most of the time somebody else out of that many people has seen it before.
Yeah.
It's not new. Any strange things at the golf course? What's some of the strangest things you've run across?
Well, I had to learn that equipment don't flow.
It doesn't. So it needs a little more. We talked to Toro and Deere and Jacobson and see if they can add some buoyancy.
We've had a few operators that tried to see if they would float, and they don't float.
They don't float, yeah. John Borsos, he was one of the guests early on, and I'll never forget him saying this, that it's amazing what an operator will do for one blade of grass. They're just trying to get just a little bit closer to that lake, and then there they go. Yeah, we've definitely probably all seen that. If you've been in the industry more than a year, you've seen a piece of equipment in the lake. I can almost guarantee it. I mean, it
got lucky. Ours didn't go totally in the water, but they rode it out, and they were pretty close both times.
Right, yeah. Well, while I'm thinking about it, on your 3,500, let's talk it through here. What's happening with it?
Oh, well, I've switched all the motors out, thinking that maybe it was hydraulic or a motor was going out, because those are supposed to be in series. So that one motor's weak, then you don't get the other deck to turn.
We have one deck not cutting. It's like the front left deck. Everything else but the motors, the blades turn on normal, but it's like once it gets under a load, it stops cutting.
And
it's just
you
one
said,
deck.
Which deck?
Front left, front right. Left. Front right. If you're sitting in seat, it's front right.
Front right. Is that it's been a minute. Is that the last one to get flow?
Yes, I think it goes.
That's what we think.
I think it goes rear, left, right. I think that's what it does.
Yeah, it's been too long since I've been into one of those. And you've replaced the motor.
I've rotated 3 motors out, and
You put a new one on too.
yeah, and it still does it. I've rotated them all the way around. I've checked bearings. I've checked hoses.
So we're, I think, down to
How old a machine is it?
2009 or 10 probably. It's one of our
Okay.
original. It's got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
hours on it.
I mean, I would definitely pull out the cartridge valves and see if the O-rings are on there. And
Because I
they're in
just
good
put new
shape.
hoses. I just put brand new hoses on it this winter. All new hoses all the way around, and we used it probably 10 times and it never missed a beat, and then it just started doing this.
Something's
Yeah.
gotten weak.
There's
Yeah.
somebody, Mark, not that mechanic, but he said there's a check valve in there, and sometimes if the check valve goes bad, that last motor will not get enough fluid for it to turn.
Yeah, and that's why I was getting at with the cartridge valve. So that's the valve that turns it on and off. There's a series of O-rings on that valve, and also the check valve, there's an O-ring on it that where it can leak internally. And
Yes, because there's no external leaks on anything.
Right. So yeah, all that happens in the valve block. But do y'all have mobile service out there and from a distributor or anybody?
Not really.
Not, yeah.
We got PTP, Professional Turf Products.
Hmm.
I think most of their mobile stuff down in Texas. So
Okay. When I worked for the Toro distributor here in the South, I had a flow meter on the van and all the stuff, so you could roll right up and hook it up and test it out and see if you wasn't getting flow or if you were, or what the deal was.
Yeah,
Because
that's kind of like
go ahead.
that's kind of like Mark, our old mechanic at the old course. He said, take everything off and then plug that return line, and there shouldn't be any fluid coming out of it. If there is, then it's blow by, and then it's either a motor or a check valve. But you shouldn't have hardly anything in that one return line.
Right. Yeah, barely kind of dribbling out has been my experience on the return line like that. Do you have the service manual?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just
I
got
haven't dug
bases
that
there.
far. I've tried everything I know, but
Yeah.
I'm scratching my head just a little bit on this one.
Okay. Well, and I mean, there is a lot of valuable information in the service manual, and that's why I asked, just to make sure. And I do appreciate Toro sharing all that stuff on their website and make it pretty easy to get to, where other manufacturers do not, and it is a pain, to try to troubleshoot stuff without a map. You talked about it a little bit. You got a mentor in the industry?
Me? Yeah. Mark
Mark
would be
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've only known him for 2 years, but I mean, he knows his stuff.
So, yeah, I mean, what's some of the coolest stuff that he's taught you?
Taught me how to sharpen reels and all that stuff. That was my first experience with sharpening reels, because I never knew how to do it, but he had it down to a pretty good science, and they have a pretty good machine. There's just a little newer than what we have, but ours still works really good.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. What are you a grind only type of place, or do you backlap?
Well, I've backlapped with Mark, but I didn't backlap this year because just had a little trouble setting the old machine up compared to the one I had at Lionsgate. It was a lot easier to set up. It's all computerized, and this one's all digital. That one was digital, but this one's all manual. You have to do a lot more to it.
talking about the relief grind, we backlap
Oh yeah, we backlap.
in between grinds.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I mean, there's all kind of different, trains of thought, and we're not going to explore those too deep
backlap.
here.
Backlap will last a little while, but that don't normally fix your problem. It'll last a while, but they basically go dull again. Then you have to take them off and put them in the grinder.
Right on.
We do have a little older. I mean, we have a Foley grinder. It's a little bit older, but it's still nice having. I mean, kind of like what you're talking about. It's getting a lot easier to grind them now. So backlapping's becoming, just kind of a temporary thing, it seems like.
Yeah, it's just as easy to take them off, put them in the machine, and you're back to square one, and they're going to stay sharp for 2 or 3 months instead of backlapping, and you might get 3 weeks out of it, and then you start leaving streaks.
Right. Yeah, how often do you check reel to bed knife and that kind of stuff?
I know I put the machines on lift every day before they go out and make sure they're still cutting paper
Okay.
or whatever, and check height. I try to check height at least once a month. Machine it is. John Deere's go out a little quicker than Boros.
I mean, it is true. It is. I'm not gonna argue. That's been my experience too. And yeah, not to bash on anybody, but that's definitely.
You can edit that out, right?
Yeah, we could, but we
Careful,
probably
we got
won't.
future sponsors here, so
Yeah,
cut
that's
that out.
no. It's. I mean, there's no secrets, right? Um, we don't keep any secrets, not on our side of the industry anyway. Well, what would be your dream job or opportunity? Is this it? You live in the dream,
I'm living the dream. Yeah, I am.
working with your son and
Yeah.
getting the grandkids.
He just has to remember that after 2:30, I'm dad. From 6
Ah,
to 2:30, he's my boss, but after that, I'm dad.
yep. I'm sure that's could be struggles at times. Yeah, I mean,
It's
what's
weird.
the
It's really weird. It's because I was just telling my superintendent today. It's probably a really bad example of how to talk to your mechanic because with him being my dad, someone will come to me and say something, broke down or something's wrong on the course and it doesn't bother me. But when he comes to me and says, well, the mower's down, I'm like, what do you mean the mower's down? What it
yeah,
is. It's a trigger.
yeah,
And I growl at him, even growl at anybody else, but when it comes to anything.
yeah. I don't. I mean, I mean, yeah. I've never worked in a job with my dad. I don't know that I could. I mean, we get along fine if I'm not working on something. But when he's standing over my shoulder telling me, how to take something apart, and I'm like, Dad, really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't,
it's definitely weird.
yeah, there's definitely some challenges there for sure. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to hold the flashlight where my dad can see whatever he's working.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I
Why are you
still haven't
holding it
figured that
there?
out.
Yeah, I
Right.
remember those days. Well, I grew up on a farm, so yeah, Dad was always yelling, "Why are you holding the light there? Get it out of my face!"
Uh huh. Hold it so I can see, not so you can see. That's the
Right.
one I remember hearing the most. Yeah, good stuff. Well, do you have a technician you would like to work with for a day?
Do I have a technician that I'd like to work with for a day? Why are
Yeah,
you coming?
I will. I'll be more than happy to come next time.
I appreciate that. I'd
I
love to.
make I make a trip.
Stand by.
Is it you got airification next week? Or something? What?
Already did that.
You already did that. Okay. Got all the
Yeah,
sand
I'll
out
tell you
there.
what. If I can't figure that 3,500 out, I'll have Jake call you and you come and help me sort that out.
Well, I mean, all jokes aside, you got my number. You call me. I'm happy to help any way I can on that kind of stuff. And if I can't help you figure it out, I might know somebody that can. And I mean, that
You got
is
a
a
guy
good
for
thing.
that.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
do.
commercial. You got a guy for that?
Yeah, I got a guy for that for sure. And it's not Jake at State Farm. Will not be him. Do y'all have that person on your crew?
That person, what do you mean?
The person that has really bad luck. The person that always.
We did last year, but not this year.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, I think
Congratulations.
we got a really good staff. So we are training a new rough mower in JJ. So we'll find out. He's
Yeah.
that guy. But so far so good.
Yeah, the guy last year that we had was a little hard on things. So, but he'd been in the business for a long time and set in his way. Couldn't get him to do what you wanted to. So, JJ's kind of green. He's been one of our part-time helpers, but I think he's going to be fine. He's a little more cautious. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I guess that guy, it's not always their fault. I don't think. I don't know if some of it was their upbringing, if it's lack of attention sometimes. I don't know. I don't think they do stuff intentionally. Maybe it's just pure luck that they're the one on the mower the day that it breaks. I don't know. But
Did
it
have a
seems
kid
like
flip a cart on his first day last year. That was fun. So
it was a few years ago. Our superintendent let a younger person on, I mean, it was his first summer, and he let him use the superintendent's cart, and he flipped it on his side, and he wasn't there much longer after that. It's like, come on, kid, get with it. And I mean, that was the other thing. It wasn't just like an accident. He was like horsing around with the cart and like trying to turn a donut and flipped it over on its side. And so it's like,
this kid just parked on an incline. We got one hole to stop and check the tees. It's got him an incline, and it was his second day, and he finally set the brake. And when he turned around to find the cart, it already launched off the rocks, flipped, and it was my cart.
Of course, it was the mechanic's cart.
So it's a work in progress.
It still drives sideways.
Yeah.
But it's drivable.
It's drivable. Yeah. A few new shackles and stuff like that, but it's drivable.
Yep. That's good stuff.
Get ready for tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks. What do you got you want to share with us? And it doesn't have to be, straight from like golf course stuff. Maybe it was something you learned in HVAC on how to test a condenser, or, I don't know.
Now you are putting me on the spot. Tips and tricks. I haven't really learned any tricks yet. I'm kind of a stickler on PM, preventive maintenance. That's one of my pet peeves. Last year I was really aggressive on greasing, and I got my butt chewed for that because I kept leaving streaks on the green.
Yep.
You can't over grease, but you can when you're in the golf industry.
Yes.
Well, we just watched one of your YouTube videos today on that steel blower on just in the carburetor. Just simple stuff like that. Like,
oh yeah.
YouTube has become really handy as far as a quick. Hey, I can't figure out this. Me being a younger guy, but I feel like you use it.
Oh, I use it a lot. If I'm trying to take something apart, I just watch the video real quick, or trying to hook a piece of equipment up that we've never had. Watch the video and said, "Oh, that's how you do it." Yep, we didn't have that when I was growing up. Figure it out yourself.
Yeah, or try to find a book on it or something like that. I remember those days going to the library. Geez, I don't miss that. I mean, the internet has changed a lot of things for sure.
Books, microfiche. You might probably remember.
Oh, yeah, definitely remember microfiche. Yeah. The guy at the parts counter, pulling up.
Get the microfiche book. Yep.
Yeah.
Get the cards out. Yep.
Yeah, it has changed a lot. Yeah, I remember going into, I don't remember what it was. It was my dryer kept tripping the temperature overload sensor. And this was me when I was young, being really naive and being sexist, honestly. So I walk in this client's house, and that somebody recommended, like, oh, go there. They know what's going on. So I walk in and I see two ladies behind the counter. And, like I said, really naive. I put my head down and I'm like, okay, great. Couple women in here. And I have the part in my hand, and I get halfway to the counter. I'm still 25 feet away. And she said, that's off of Maytag, such and such, such and such. That's part number, blah, 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 blah. How many of those you need? And I mean, I hadn't even made it to the counter yet. So, I mean, she totally blew my mind. I'm like, okay, this is legit. They know what's going on in here. Like, yeah, I'll take one of those. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, once you're in the industry for a while and all the experience you pick up and all that knowledge that stays in your brain. It's cool stuff. So how do you test a capacitor on a condenser unit?
How do you test a capacitor? Meter. Use a voltmeter.
Right. Voltmeter, and then you turn it to what?
We're going to turn it to ohms.
You turn it to ohms.
Yeah.
And you're just checking
You can see how many microfarads are on it.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. I've done it before, but I like how many of these golf course technicians know how to do that?
He does get quite a bit of calls up to the clubhouse to work on AC or.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I've worked on air conditioners and stuff.
Ice machines,
Mm-hmm.
cooler lines. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it happens, I think, all over the place, but it's probably shame on you for letting them know that you had HVAC.
Well, that's his
skills.
fault, not my
Yeah,
fault.
okay, not your fault. Yeah. I don't, and
Normally, if I-
honestly, the older I get, the more I kind of try to hide that from random people, like what I do know what to do. When they're like, yeah, my lawnmower. I'm like, okay, yeah, your lawnmower, what? Yeah, okay. Yeah, good luck
Just-
with that.
the sprinkler system in their yard. I was like, oh
Well,
boy,
right, exactly. Yeah.
it's getting around. It's getting
Yep, you got to be careful with that stuff. You do. Because, I mean, honestly, time is really valuable. And before you know it, you've volunteered your whole life away to your neighbor or, the person down the road or whoever it might be.
But what is it about in our industry? We all like to help too. We always say that.
Right.
We're never going to say no.
Well, and that's something I guess I've really been working on the last 5, 6, 10 years is like, just say no. It's really okay to say no. But like you said, it's so hard to say no because you just want to say, yeah, I'll help you. And yeah, a week later, you still got stuff to do,
Yeah,
and that's,
words travel fast.
yeah, yes, it does.
Once they find out, yes.
But then the wife goes, well, you help everybody else. Why you help around the house,
Yeah. Yep. Now I understand that too. It's just like, like both my girls driving and or am I doing everything on their cars I probably should be? No. Sorry, girls. I'm not going to leave you stranded somewhere. I'll come pick you up, but I don't want to be your personal mechanic either. I mean, that's been some funny stories too. It costs that much to get a tire fixed? Yeah, it does, honey.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, sure does.
Yep.
Yeah, what'd you start to say there?
I said no shade tree mechanics no more, like it used to be. Yeah,
Right.
Could fix everything. There wasn't no computers. It was easy to fix. Yep.
Yeah, true. And like you said with the YouTube thing, I mean, if I am working on my personal vehicle or one of my girls' vehicles, that's the first place I go, YouTube. I'm like, is there a video on how to do this or, whatever? I pulled an engine out of a Honda Civic basically by a YouTube video. I mean, obviously I've been turning wrenches a while and have some knowledge, but I did watch the video, to get a little insight on what all's involved in getting this thing out. And I watched multiple videos and every one of them said, pull it out the bottom. But me being the person I am, I said, no, I'm taking it out the top. And I did. I did cut the firewall a little bit, but it came out. So, live and learn, I guess. The next one will come out of the bottom. Yeah, they don't give you very much room there.
No. You got everything else underneath there. Rack and pinion steering, got to move all that stuff. If you come out the top, there's nothing to block you but a hood.
Right. Well, and I had the hood off, so anyway, it was not fun. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we get to some rapid fire? No? Anything?
No, not really.
Not really. Nothing come up. Nothing. Do you want to call Jacob out right now? On a podcast where he can't really defend himself? No, honestly, I think it's great that y'all's relationship, obviously you get along well enough to work together, and I'm sure it's not peaches all day long every day, but super cool experience. And I would think you'll get to look back on that at some point and say, man, how lucky was I to work with somebody like that, a family member that you get along with and all the memories you'll be making.
Right now, we're just, you live day to day. We don't think about the sentimental of it all that much. But, now that you say that, it's like, kind of chokes you up a little bit.
Well, I'm not trying to choke anybody up, but I think one day you'll both really appreciate the time you got to spend together, for sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
About the wrenches that we're throwing and not at each other. No.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not at each other.
We've both had our little hissy fits.
Well, yeah, I mean, it happens. And I've said this for a long time. Nobody can make you more angry than a family member. I don't know why. Perfect stranger could say whatever to me and be like, all right, whatever.
Whatever, right?
Yeah. But you let a family member, especially, like my dad, says just the right thing. I mean, and it's not even that bad, but it just gets under my skin so deep. I can't let it go. So anyway, y'all want to do some rapid fire?
Do it.
Yeah, we'll tag team it. So I'll ask the question, Jeff can answer, and then Jacob answers. And let's see how close you are.
You picking the category, or do we get to pick the category?
Well, no, there's 3 questions, and they're the same for everybody. So what's your favorite movie? First or last?
First.
First. All right. Love it. Jacob?
Caddyshack.
You got to say it, right? You got to go with Caddyshack. I mean, it's such a classic. It really is. I mean, this is a great movie, and I loved Caddyshack before I ever started working at a golf course. It was good stuff. What would be your last meal?
Ribeye steak.
Anything to go with that ribeye steak? How are we getting it cooked?
And fresh green beans.
All right. Some homemade green beans. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That don't get no better.
That's right. Exactly. Jacob?
Grandma spaghetti. It's famous.
Oh, all right. Spaghetti. Yes. I love it.
She's got to make it, though. She makes it special.
Okay. Yeah. That's good stuff. What are you most proud of besides your family? But I feel like this is kind of a family episode.
Yes.
So can we just talk about family then? You can tell me.
I'm proud of both of my kids. My other son's in the Air Guard, so.
Awesome.
He's a flight engineer.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm proud of, I guess, and where I'm at right now, I'm just proud of my 2 young kids. We're raising them up and just seeing them grow. You're already seeing stuff that you're instilling in them. It's just cool to see.
No, it's so good. And I don't know how many people told me when my kids were little, like, they grow up so fast. And I thought, well, there's been a bunch of people tell me that. I'm sure they're right. But you still don't realize it until they grow up. And then you're like, dang, they were right. They grew up so fast. Like, where did all the time go?
My youngest daughter, she'll be 2 this summer, but it's like, I saw a picture the other day from when we delivered her, and I was like, it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know. You just wait, man. Yeah, wait till they turn 15 or 20.
But I was pretty tired in that delivery room, but that was fuzzy.
Yeah, right. No, that's crazy, man. Crazy. Well, thank you both for joining me tonight. And we had a little trial and error, but we finally got here. I was sick, and then I don't remember what happened the next time. We couldn't make it, and then here we are, though. Third time's a charm.
Yeah, I appreciate everything, yes.
Yeah, and honestly, if I can ever help in the future, you got my number, I'm happy to help. And like I said, if I don't know the answer, I might know somebody that does. And that goes, for anybody listening too. I think my phone number's on the website. I know I get random text all the time, like, hello, dear. Like, yeah, who sends that, right? Like, come on, you could come up with something better than that. Yeah, so anyway. But yeah, I'm here for you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you so much for listening to the Real Turf Techs podcast. I hope you learned something today. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any topics you would like to discuss or you'd like to be a guest, find us on Twitter at Real Turf Techs. See you bye.